Like they didn't show up at the Capitol and break windows and knock down doors and kill cops and chase.
They didn't do that.
And they didn't break windows,
they didn't
knock
kill
down
cops.
They of course did.
No, they didn't.
Who did? They died of natural causes that day?
Yeah, nobody died that day.
Cops.
No, not true. Who?
Okay.
Who?
Oh, I don't remember the names.
Bill Maher and Megyn Kelly sat down to have a debate, and things got very, very heated between the two, to the point where it got even into a shouting match. They were discussing things such as J6 and was that real? Was it not? Does it deserve jail time? Stuff like that. Did Donald Trump actually lose the last election? Is Donald Trump going to win the next election? And overall culture war stuff. But really, the main attraction to this clip that I'm about to show you right here is Bill Maher and Megyn Kelly getting into a very heated shouting match where they even start throwing insults at each other. I'm sure you can guess which one is throwing the insults at which one. It's probably going to be the more emotional leftist, which is Bill Maher. But let's get into this clip here of this shouting match between Megyn Kelly and Bill Maher over things, like I said, such as J6, Donald Trump, the normal things that absolutely run people like Bill Maher's brain. Let's check this out.
One thing I can guarantee will happen is that Trump will say he won, whether he won or lost.
I agree with that.
Well, that's not a good thing for America,
No,
is it?
I agree with that,
I think
too.
on January 20th, 2025, he'll show up at the White House, whether he's invited or not. And I don't think that's going to be good.
He's gonna bomb in if he lost?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Bomb is a word I wouldn't even throw around lightly.
Oh, stop it. He's not going to do that.
Right. Like there was never an attack on the Capitol, Megyn.
Oh, I hear you. But he's not going to show up at the inauguration.
Like they didn't show up at the Capitol and break windows and knock down doors and kill cops and chase.
They didn't do that.
And they didn't break windows,
They didn't
knock
kill
down
cops.
They of course did.
No, they didn't.
Who did? They died of natural causes that day?
Yeah, nobody died that day.
Cops.
No, not true. Who?
Okay.
Who?
Oh, I don't remember the names.
They didn't.
You don't have to remember the names. You don't have to remember the actual facts of the situation. If you're a Bill Maher type person, you're a woke leftist. You just have to know the talking points. That's it. You know, the all the common things, right? With the Kyle Rittenhouse stuff. I just watched a couple videos revisiting that from one of my older videos. And, you know, the common thing that everybody was saying was cross state lines, cross state lines. Everybody was saying that over and over again. It was so many meme compilations of it because it was said so many times. You just have to know the talking points. Cross state lines. Well, hey, a lot of people cross state lines when they drive to work in the morning. Should they go to jail? Obviously not. You know, it's like, why is cross state lines the thing? And then, you know, now with the Donald Trump stuff and the fact that he's a convicted felon, now everybody's saying convicted felon, convicted felon. You just have to know the talking points. Bill Maher knows the talking point of J6. Oh, cops died. What's their names? Oh, I don't know that. I just know that the headlines and the talking points are that cops died. So I'm supposed to repeat that. That's all he knows.
There was Brian Sicknick, who died later after the fact, and the coroner's report did not say it was because of what he had inhaled that day. He said it had possibly accelerated the condition that killed him.
Okay, well, attacked cops. I thought they were
Yes.
I thought they were the law enforcement people. You know, how did we get to this place? I mean, Trump now says he's going to pardon all those January 6th insurrectionists, because who wants to live in a country where the people who try to overthrow the government are seen as the bad guys, huh?
They weren't insurrectionists, Bill.
They weren't.
They were a bunch of numbskulls.
They chased that's so stupid. They chased duly elected representatives out of the building and wanted to hang the vice president for certifying the election. That's not an insurrection?
The people who engaged in violent acts or actually made threats along those lines are all being prosecuted appropriately. And I've said repeatedly, I hope they get the book thrown at them, and they've had it.
So that's
but
not.
You're
that's
so
not
upset about the entrapment that happened of the Muslims after 9/11. How about the entrapment that happened to some of those J6 protesters?
Wait. Wait. Let's go back to what I'm upset about with the Muslims.
That we talked about after 9/11 and the feds getting involved, saying, "Don't you want to?"
Yeah.
So entrapment.
They weren't Muslims. They were just guys.
All right. Well, my point is there are. I'm not going to again. You're making me defend things that I.
Then you shouldn't.
In part,
that are horrible.
But
then don't defend them. Why defend them?
Because
you have to take them to the extreme every time. That's what the left does. If you don't do that, if you don't do what Bill Maher is doing and take everything to the maximum extreme, you can't just have like a common sense point and say, yeah, you probably shouldn't have forced your way into the Capitol, but it was kind of entrapment. There was kind of some feds there, and they were kind of inciting the whole thing, and it was made very obvious by who got prosecuted and arrested and stuff like that afterwards. It's made very obvious what was going on there. You can't say that. You just have to say, oh no, right wing bad, Donald Trump bad, Donald Trump tried to overthrow the government, and that's just the talking point that I must run with, because if I don't run with that talking point, I'm going to be physically removed from the left. That's what's happening with Anna Kasparian. That's what happened with Joe Rogan, with Russell Brand. They stopped going with the most extreme possible talking point, the most extreme leftist way of thinking, and they get kicked out immediately. Because if you're not taking everything to the maximum extreme, you're not on the left. You're not part of the woke left. You're not part of the cult. You get kicked out.
It's more nuanced than you're suggesting. They were not insurrectionists. There was never any possibility that they were, I've heard you refer to it as a coup.
They attempted.
Going to take over the government. It wasn't going to happen. It was a protest.
They broke into
it was
the
a
Capitol.
riot.
They broke into the Capitol.
They opened the doors and let them walk in. Security was waving them in one after the other.
I could show you the footage of them knocking through the gates.
I can show you the footage of many of them being welcomed in by cops, Bill. You see, that's the difference
Once
between
they
the two of
broke
us.
down the
I
doors-
will make a distinction between those who truly behaved badly and those who thought
Yes,
they were having a good time in Statuary Hall.
Yeah,
If you enjoy content like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
there were some people who just came to meander and wander around. That's true. I've seen the documentary that Alexander Pelosi did on it. It's interesting because a lot of them were just like, oh yeah, it's an interesting place to go, and let's see what happens. There's also footage of people, and there were people who absolutely intended to stop that election. Absolutely. So I don't know what you would call that. Maybe you don't like that word insurrectionist because it got it's too anti-Republican, but that's what it is.
I don't agree with you. I don't think the legal definition of insurrection they don't meet, and that's why it wasn't actually charged. It's it's a leftist dream to try.
That doesn't matter. Like, this is what I'm so glad people like Megyn Kelly are standing up against that. Because you can tell Megyn Kelly doesn't like what happened on J6, and that's fine. But these people like to just twist the meaning of words, like ever so slightly. They've been pushing the meaning of words a little bit further and further to where they can just kind of make them mean whatever the hell they want nowadays. Like, you can label anybody anything that you want if you're a leftist, even if it doesn't make sense for the situation. So it's good that people are actually pushing back on these sort of things. Like, no, it's not this, and that's not just with the insurrectionist word. It's with all the istophobes out there, the racist, the homophobic, all those things. You start pushing back like Megyn Kelly is doing right here, because if Bill Maher is actually sat here and made to defend his points, they fall apart just like they're about to right now.
Try to make it sound even worse than it was. These leftists who didn't care at all when their people were out in the roads killing cops, actually killing, hurting cops, killing others in the BLM protests, suddenly found their conscience when it happened on J6.
Killing cops is always wrong. Doing it in the service of trying to overthrow the government of the United States is a little bit different.
It
didn't happen because we
were
lucky it didn't happen. They tried to make it happen. Attempting to commit a crime is bad. Trump tries to commit crimes all the time, like this one. The fact that he doesn't succeed doesn't make it better. It makes it better for the country. Let's see what happens next time. We are not exactly like the detective and the serial killer. Oh, we're a lot more alike than you think. We're actually not that alike, I think.
I think you're right. Yeah. I agree. We see a very, very different reality. Which is fine. I mean,
it is fine. We have to be able to talk and disagree and still be civil.
And I think this is a perfect example. Bill Maher is just a perfect example here, sitting across from Megyn Kelly, who's not like super duper far right. I mean, she's definitely right. And if you're a leftist, you would call her far right, but she's not as far right as a lot of different people. She's probably not even as far right as me. And I don't even like to label myself as like, right wing or Republican or anything. I think labels are kind of dumb, but Megyn Kelly's not that far right. And if Bill Maher sitting across from her is made to look this stupid, it kind of epitomizes the left. It just shows how none of them care about facts or anything. They just care about talking points and headlines, and they have their little talking points and headlines that they go with. If you try to challenge them, shout out to Bill Maher for being brave enough to sit across from someone who disagrees with him, who actually knows the facts of these situations. Most of them won't, because the same thing will happen to them. They have their talking points, they have their headlines, and they know nothing deeper than that. So if they're challenged on any point, they get wrecked, they get destroyed, just like Bill Maher was in this one. And he resorts to calling Megyn Kelly stupid and stuff within these clips. And a lot of these leftists will get even worse than that. I think if Bill Maher and Megyn Kelly were on his show, maybe he was in a more comfortable environment for him, things might have gotten worse in terms of the name calling and stuff. For most leftists out there, it would get a lot worse than just stupid. but maybe he has a little bit of respect for her show and stuff like that. Let me know in the comments, who do you think won, Megyn Kelly or Bill Maher? Obviously, I think Bill Maher's talking points were ridiculous. Let me know in the comments if you have a different viewpoint on this whole Megyn Kelly versus Bill Maher debate.